Hello everyone, this is Marcos Carvalho, co-founder of Boundless Life. Welcome to another Boundless Conversation. We're going to learn more about Bex family's experience here at Boundless Sintra and how she transitioned from the corporate world to a profession she's really passionate about. What brought you here? How did you end up coming here with your family, with Charlie, with Zach, with Elodie, and have everybody here living this lifestyle?
Where to begin on my story? I think I became really interested in travel when I was around 14 or 15, and it coincided with a trip to Kathmandu. I was so lucky I was able to go with my school to Kathmandu, and at the same time The Beach came out. You remember the one with Leonardo DiCaprio? Not the movie, but the book. So the book came first. I read the book and had this just amazing image in my mind as to what life would look like if I was just on the road. And then I went on this trip to Kathmandu, and I can't really explain what happened, but I just became super open to where I might live in my life, and that there would be no set one place that I would call home. And it just began from there. I traveled a lot from that point, and any money that I earned I spent on traveling. And then I was very lucky to meet someone who felt kind of similar to me. Long story short, we had kids, and everyone told me that this kind of travel life that I've been living has to end. But I am pretty strong-willed, I think, as a person. I continued to travel with one, and I proved everybody wrong. And then with two, I went on a 6-month trip with my 3-year-old and a baby. Yeah, 6 months on the road. It was a brilliant time, and I've since that trip been always looking for a way to continue traveling, enjoying my family, seeing the world. And so, as you can imagine, when Boundless came into my life, I was like, this is the answer. So thank you. I've been able to prove everybody wrong again. Even now, my kids are 6 and 3. And yeah, here we are living the boundless life. So it's a reality now.
Well, we love helping you prove everybody wrong. Like in every new technology or new solution or new entrepreneurship, there's always people that don't believe in you, and that's part of the game, and we're here to prove them wrong. You already had an international life. You're from the UK originally, but grew up in Asia, lived in Japan, China. What was that all about, and how that fueled, your desire for a more international lifestyle?
So yeah, I was born in the UK, and when I was 8, my dad got a job in Hong Kong. I think the UK was going through some kind of recession at the time, so it was a good time to leave and start this new life. It was supposed to be a 2-year contract, and again a 2-year, but it kept extending and extending and extending until I was 18. And so I spent my whole childhood, my formative time in Hong Kong. And I think that leap, of just going into the unknown, my mom really wasn't keen to go, but it certainly changed her life. And just knowing that you'll never know until you do it. You'll never know until you get to that place. And so I think that move itself probably shifted my thinking in leaping to unknown things and having faith that it's going to be okay.
Yeah, and opening your mind to different cultures. I imagine, Hong Kong being very different from the UK where you're from, and now you stepping in this different culture. And now, once you have that, you witness those differences, you realize that, we actually can be happy anywhere, in any culture, just a matter of adaptation.
And that definitely speaks to life in Japan. Such a contrast to Hong Kong, a contrast to England, but in the end, as a guest, you do your best to fit with your surroundings, watch and learn and see what's appropriate, and you just acclimatize to the home that you're in at the time.
So you met your husband Charlie in Hong Kong?
I met Charlie in China. We were living in Shanghai, and then his job has moved us around a little bit from there. So Shanghai, Hong Kong, Tokyo, and now we're supposed to be moving to London, but I found Boundless as a kind of transitional step for us to join, so the kids could be at school whilst we were looking for something, And for me, it was just a great tie-over solution in between our two lives, moving from Japan and then going into our next life in London.
Charlie doesn't stay here that much, does he?
He really needed to get on with the work that he needs to do right now, and it is more office-based and travel-based. For us, it worked out that I would be here with the children, being in this community and really held by everybody and supported with this wonderful school, and he can go off and do his thing and know that I'm totally fine and safe and with good people.
Yeah, that's something I hear a lot, is that one of the biggest value proposition of Boundless Life is stepping in a community you can trust right away, right, with like-minded families. And we have, I mean, you're not a single parent. I know Charlie comes very often, but we also have single parents. And I've heard them saying, hey, you know, I arrive here, I'm alone, but actually I'm not alone, I'm with everybody, and my kids are doing sleepovers, and, you know, our new friends help pick them up at the education center if I'm busy working. We love seeing that happening so organically, so fast.
That's how we used to operate, you know, as people. We was always together, stepping up for the one that needed help. And modern society, that got lost. We step up for those people, the single ones and the ones that need more help and the ones with multiple kids. You know, we're able to be the village.
Actually, when we start presenting this idea to potential partners or investors or families, you know, that's what we brought to the table, is that, look, we've been, you know, human beings have been living this nomadic lifestyle for, you know, 99% of our history. It's only after the Industrial Revolution, I think, where that changed. And we were now indoctrinated to live this life so that we could fulfill the economical need. Today we're much more free, thanks also to technology, to work from anywhere. And that's something I wanted to ask you about, because I know you come from the corporate world, but now you've been for the past 8 years, if I'm not mistaken, a yoga teacher and a life coach. Tell me more about this transition.
I felt that in the corporate world, I was just very solo. It was very dog-eat-dog, the mentality. And I could sustain that for a little bit of my life until basically everything in my body is saying, you can't continue this way. It was too stressful for me. I really respect the companies that I work for, but ultimately it gave me too much anxiety and too sales-led, numbers-driven, not enough about the people. When I quit the corporate world and I went into my own journey, I was able to just nurture the relationships as much as I saw that was needed. You know, that's the ultimate part of any business, is just the connection with the people. For myself, I could take charge of that and do it exactly as I saw fit. And yeah, I feel lucky that I'm able to teach yoga for a living and coaching as a living. The reason that I'm here in the world is to help, listen, and connect people.
Your purpose is written on one of the first lines of your description on LinkedIn. What fulfills you the most, which is about, you know, helping people to surpass themselves.
Yeah, I can't even remember what I've written there now, but I just know that I don't want anyone to struggle in the way that I was struggling, just feeling so out of line, out of integrity with what I'm supposed to do, which is this now that I've found. And so if I can help anyone out of that mess, I will be there.
So it's so aligned with you know, our purpose at Boundless Life as well. Really building the structure to help people to have more fulfilling lives.
I mean, to go into more detail about how I'm able to do that here, obviously there's the hub space that I can use to do all my admin, and I feel like I just have a little bit more sense of camaraderie here. I'm not just on my own in my house doing my work. So I love that feeling of being able to bounce ideas off people here that are all in different industries. But then again, I have my own beautiful little home where I can record my yoga lessons and teach online and take private calls. So it's a good setup for being a nomadic.
I know the beautiful little home you're referring to, because I lived there myself.
Yeah, it's a good home.
I tried almost every property here in Sintra, and I love that one, in that beautiful historical building with this amazing view and that little balcony. It's so charming.
Good vibes. That building has really good juju.
Yes.
And the fact that it's, you know, on top of a gelateria.
The gelateria with Fernando and Maria being so caring and loving the kids. Describe a little bit more your day-to-day life.
I'm working basically 3 days a week. I drop off the kids at the school, I come up to the hub, I get my work done here, or if I'm teaching yoga back at my house, I'm down there, so I'm kind of going backwards and forwards. And then after school, 3:15, we play after school with the children. None of the kids seem to want to leave the school, so we stay at the school for quite some time. Maybe an hour, we play, and then it's quite organic what happens in the afternoons. Whoever's around, then we might play with them. We go into the garden, and then eventually we meander home for dinner, and we're very lucky. We have a beautiful family living upstairs from us who are also boundless. Just so happens to be my best friend from home. So we hang out with them as well. We can have sleepovers and
I heard the doors stay open and then they just run up and down, right?
Yeah, up and down. You know, you can close your door when you want to, and they know that too, but for the most part, we share our lives together. I signed up to Boundless because my friend told me about it, and then my best friend from Hong Kong who was struggling with life there, you know, I suggested to her, and this was a great solution for her while she's figuring out the next steps.
Really cool being able to bring friends and family together as well. You know,
I tried to bring more, but
we've seen that grandparents joining and wanting to spend time with their grandkids and their kids, and the best friends joining and coming together. We have our community, we have the local community that's been welcoming us so well, and then now you have also the opportunity to have your parents joining or your best friends, so we think that's really cool. Another question for you, Bex. How's life now that little Zach and Elodie are spending time at our education center? How was their education being done before? What kind of education system were they before? And what is the difference with the experience they are having here? And did you witness any changes in the way they are?
Good question. So first, Elodie, my eldest, she's 6. She has been through already many different systems. She started in a Japanese nursery, and then she was at a kind of fun garden school in Bali, and then she went to a kind of a government Japanese kindergarten. She didn't go so well, and then she moved to a British international school in Tokyo. I'm still yet to find like a model that really fits her, because it's too young to tell, but her experience coming from the rigidity of Japanese kindergarten, and to some extent also international school where there's tests to do and this to pass and, you know, levels to reach. I think she feels more free. She's really joyful here. She runs to school. I think she loves the outdoors, so I think she's really enjoyed the fact that there's a lot of time spent out of the classroom as well as in, and she seems content. And for Zach, who's 3, he was a COVID baby, kind of, so he spent a lot of time just with me. But the transition going into a school, I thought it might be tricky because, you know, there'll be some distance between us, but he also is going in, Miss Joanna, he calls her, his teacher.
Yeah, Joanna.
She is just
awesome.
a loving soul, and you can tell as soon as you meet her that she loves children. They're just the kind of teachers that he needed to feel nurtured. Yeah, he's loving it too.
I'm sure he may be learning some Portuguese because Joanna's kids are also there, and she's Portuguese and always speaking Portuguese to them, so they're awesome.
Happy. And I think also being able to interact with the different ages, that feels important to me, but I think they're getting a lot out of that too, that it's not so divided that, you know, the 3-year-olds can only be with the 3-year-olds ever. Because in what world in life do you only ever hang out with people born in your year?
True.
So I think it's more natural. I love the way that they have lunch together as a group, you know, and the big ones help the little ones. You know, he's only 3, but he's made good friends with some of the 10-year-olds.
Yeah, I've seen how they are able to play together and help each other and support each other. And I witnessed a lunch as well where they all around the food and being grateful for the food and being grateful for their friendship.
It shouldn't be so radical, this change, or this new way that we're doing. It feels like it's going back to how we used to do it, what our roots are, and what really the purpose of being human is. It's like enjoying a meal together. Like, it's as simple as that for me, and you can begin that when you're 2 years old. It feels natural and really loving at the school because it's small, so it's possible to keep it that way and know everyone by name and interact in that way.
There's a lot of parents also, you know, mingling there and deciding what they're going to do next for the afternoon, and sometimes there's some picnic going on over there.
It's definitely the education center. I would say even more than the hub is like a focal point for where you meet and gather, and like I said, like just organic conversations or plans come to life after school. And for me, that was like the critical piece of why I wanted to come to Boundless, because I knew that the kids would have this beautiful space to be in, and we're not just aimlessly, you know, traveling according to my wishes throughout whichever country I chose.
And talking about community, I want to ask you a little bit more about how it felt, that episode last weekend when we were on the beach and I was getting out of the water and I see everybody running, and people told me, well, we can find little Zach. A few seconds everybody was looking for Zach, and we ended up, of course, finding Zach happily playing on a tree by himself a few meters away. It really touched me, seeing all the community coming together to solve a problem together, as you were mentioning before, how it's supposed to be, right? How we all felt so relieved when we found Zach. Tell me more about how was it for you as a mother, how you felt about it, and there's also, of course, you're traveling the world and there are risks, right? Nothing's perfect. Tell me more about how was that episode.
Yeah, it was scary. I think when you're in a group of people, you dilute the attention of who's looking at what, but eventually it was all good. I was so relieved. The sense of community, I think, after that moment, it was like we bonded even more, because we'd been through this kind of hardship together, and people were so empathetic. It was just a really beautiful thing to have people there for me in that moment of collapsing with relief.
Yes, I felt very emotional in that moment as well. I felt like it was my kid, and that's something I feel all the time with all the kids here, and we all do.
But I think you definitely get close to people quickly at Boundless, and you are invested in each other's lives more than you would normally be. You know, we're all here with this intention to be together. Yeah. You can have communities in other places, you know, in London or Tokyo or anywhere, but it's that intention that we're all here for that reason. To be together, you know. And
sharing that common purpose, which I believe is, you know, having a more fulfilling family lifestyle, right? Empowering our kids with, you know, better way of living and preparing them for the future.
I think that you learn so much about life and people and empathy and connection when you travel, and you realize that there are many ways to live a life. It's not my way back home, this is the only way. And so to be able to gift my kids this diversity in the way they think and see people, it's a present for them.
And tell me, what's next for your family? How you see the future? What are the next steps?
This is the question that even my husband and I can't seem to figure out. What is next? We're going to try going into the more like regular school system in the UK and see how that fits for our kids and for us. And we'll give that a year, test it out, and just knowing that Boundless is always in our back pocket for if it doesn't, and also for the summer next year. We're hoping to come to Florence and to Pistoia and hopefully do the summer months in Italy.
Living the boundless life, for some families, is living the boundless life continuously. For other families, it's about taking a sabbatical. For other families, it's about enjoying different type of vacation, right? So it fits everybody's needs, and it really gives you the opportunity to have that experience for as long as you want.
If I had my way, I might just stay for a few more years on my own with the kids, but we're going to try London.